The question is that the House insist on disagreeing to the amendments insisted on by the Senate, and I call the honourable member for Sturt.
Well, thank you, Deputy Speaker. And like my colleague, the member for Groom, I rise to urge the House to accept the wisdom of the Senate and agree with the amended bill that they've sent back to us, and in so doing point out, as all the other speakers have so far, how vital it is to send a message to the small business sector that we back you, that we want to help you, particularly in these very tough times. And I didn't think I'd say at any point in my career that I was in this chamber supporting legislation for the small business sector that even the Greens will be voting for. But that is the situation that we're in now, where only the government are not supporting this very sensible proposition that we should increase the threshold for the instant asset write-off from $20,000 to $30,000. And we've had contributions from the crossbench to that regard. We've had the Senate unite against the government to support increasing the threshold. And now we have the opportunity momentarily for the government to consider changing their mind, to consider being flexible, to listen to all the other political forces in this chamber and the other chamber that are saying, when we're in the community, when we're listening to our small business sector, they really need this. Frankly, they need a lot more than this. But this is one thing that we can do for them right now. We can send a message to the small business sector that we want to back them to make decisions in their business, to invest in their business, to make purchase decisions that gain a greater tax advantage for them, because that is going to incentivise them to make those decisions, stimulate our economy at a very important time that we need exactly that kind of activity. I really commend Opposition Leader Peter Dutton for his budget reply speech, and particularly the commitment that he announced that a coalition government will increase the threshold to $30,000 and will make that enduring, a permanent change to the tax system. It's one of the many great examples of a tradition in the Liberal Party, in the coalition ranks, of supporting the small business sector and saying to them, we back you. We want the private sector to grow our economy. We want government to be as efficient as possible. We want taxes on small businesses in particular to be as low as possible. And we want to back people that go out there, that take a risk, that put their capital on the line, that invest in our economy and actually create jobs and grow it. And as we grow the economy, we can afford to fund the society that we're very proud of as Australians. That comes from the private sector being encouraged and supported by government decisions and government policy selections. And so the chamber has an opportunity to think deeply about that and think seriously about what sort of message we can send to the small business sector tonight. And I ask the government, I plead with the government to consider the opportunity that they've got before them. I know that this isn't their idea, and the default position in politics is to say, well, that might be a good idea, but someone else has come up with it. And so we'll just pretend that it's not, and we'll use our numbers in the House of Representatives to stop it from progressing. But this was such a good idea during the Morrison government. My friend, the member for Riverina, who was in the cabinet that made the decisions around COVID stimulus and saying to the small business sector, hey, we want to give you the ability to instantly write off assets up to these values off your tax this year. And how many businesses took up that opportunity and said, you know what, government, if you're going to back me to invest in my business, I'm going to invest in my business. And that's them not only investing in their business, but investing in our whole economy and investing in our nation. And it's a very, very sensible opportunity for the government to reconsider their position here and say, yeah, fair enough. Increasing it to $30,000 will unlock more investment in our economy, right at the point at which we need it. And I've got nearly 7,000 small businesses in my electorate. Everyone would be similar in the number of small businesses that would have the opportunity to benefit from making this change. We've united the crossbench. We've united even the Greens party see the merit in this proposition, and they're usually the last to come to the party when it comes to sensible opportunities to support the small business sector. That should be very telling to the government. It should send a message to the government that this is very sensible policy, and it's a very sensible opportunity for them to get on board and send a unanimous message to the small business community that we back them, for them to make decisions, to put their money on the line, to make investment decisions, to grow their business, grow our economy, And that's what increasing this threshold will do, send exactly that message to the small business community at exactly the time they need to be hearing it. I commend concurring with the Senate amendments to the House.
Order. I thank the honourable member for Sturt.